Hi, hello, good evening, and salutations. Welcome back to the Headaches and Hot Takes podcast. I'm your host, Shaparian, alongside my co-host, Hearn, a.k.a. Blork, from the Grungelman and Binkus, the Herniator. I can't believe we landed Blork, bro. I've got Blork as my podcast co-host. We are ready to go. Grungelman and Binkus, big blockbuster film coming out soon. How are you doing, sir?
Dude, first off, I'm great. How are you?
Fine. Why?
Dude, speaking of blockbuster films that nobody has heard of, have you heard of this, what is it, like Harold and the Purple Crayon or something?
Yeah, so it has Steve Carell and John Krasinski involved with the project, right? Or am I wrong? No, that was imaginary. That was If.
Yes. This is Zachary Levi. This is Shazam.
This looks bad.
As a lot of people know him.
This looks terrible.
I haven't heard of it. And people were like, it opened with, terrible numbers. I'm like, well, I have not heard of this movie. And I assume it's a kid's movie by the title.
It is.
I still haven't seen a trailer for it, honestly. I've only seen, cover art. But, never heard of it. I have not heard of this movie.
It's not what it used to be.
I don't know. And I do think, oh my God, dude, I think sometimes, whether it's because they actually pay for it or because somebody just really likes this person or whatever, dude, Longlegs, that movie that's I think it's out right now.
What's that?
I think Nicolas Cage, it's some scary movie. I think Nicolas Cage is the scary person in it.
Okay.
I don't know how you haven't seen it. It was everywhere. Oh, the best movie I've ever seen, the best movie of the year. Every movie reviewer on TikTok loves this movie.
Even
I was like, it's bad. It's got to be bad. Not bad, but there's no way it's that good. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Before a movie comes out, if every reviewer is like, movie of the year, I'm like, you're over-exaggerating. And you're getting paid to over-exaggerate how good this movie is. How many people will go see it.
My favorite thing that we've talked about before is how on Rotten Tomatoes, it'll be certified fresh, whatever. Well, I guess certified fresh typically means it goes hand in hand with critics and audience score, right? Like both.
Does it? I honestly don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's
we have a friend that would be better suited to explain that to us. But I love it when they're polar opposites. I love it when the audience score is 96 and the critic score is 8, and it's like, what do we do? Because I've said this before. How are you the critics? You're not a good critic then if you're saying this is a bad movie, but people like the movie. If everyone loves the movie, but the critic doesn't like the movie, why are you movie critic? Oh, yeah. And before we get into this part of the conversation, I fully, wholeheartedly understand the difference between a critically good film and a commercially good film. Just like I understand the difference between critically good music and commercially good music, okay? There's a reason that, it's a accepted thing to just be like, oh, radio garbage, right? Garbage on the radio, pop garbage these days. But that's what people like. But I don't understand how there can be a consensus with an audience of, we love this movie. This movie is so good. And then critics will be like, this movie is terrible.
Yeah.
Do explain.
I don't know. First off, no, certified fresh, that only depends on the tomato meter.
Okay, so that's critics score.
So, but yeah, I honestly could not care less what the tomato score is of a movie. I honestly hate Rotten Tomatoes for that. I have since started using Letterboxd, that app that our friend Treads introduced me to, and now I do my reviews. I go on there, and still, as I tweeted last week, I think of a movie I watched. People will go on there and review bomb for whatever reason they have.
So dumb.
But still, I'm gonna trust the audience score over critics every single time. You go look at Sausage Party. Critic score I think is decent. Audience score is this is a bad movie, and there's so many like that. I'm
really?
like, this is a bad movie.
I thought you were about to say the opposite, because I was gonna cringe at the thought of Sausage Party. I'm not gonna watch that movie ever. Critic score is decent and the audience score is bad?
Don't ever watch Party.
I'm not going to ever watch that movie. I watch 5 movies a year, bro. I'm not watching Sausage Party. It's not going to make the cut.
The tomato meter is 82. The audience is 50. 82 on Sausage Party, dude. Well, because it explores a new world and a new way. Stop. I honestly hate these people.
English teachers.
English
teacher energy.
If you call yourself a movie critic, I probably don't like you. All these people on Tomato. If you are like me and our friends and stuff, and you're just reviewing them, they're like, hey, this is what I thought of this movie. I'm not going to watch a movie well, the themes were just fantastic. If that has a good story, that's fine. But I'm not going to go on there and bark about the metaphors and the, oh, God, just stop. That's not why I watch movies. If you watch movies for that reason, whatever.
Yeah. But I don't know. I can fully understand the difference between a good movie like I said, audience score wise in terms of how the public perception is and what's a critically good movie. My go-to is always Citizen Kane. I guarantee the Super Mario Bros. Movie, 10x Citizen Kane, right? I have zero doubts in my mind that if you're asking people who have, are movie buffs and have seen every movie known to mankind, that Citizen Kane is a better movie. I'd rather watch Super Mario Bros. Movie 10 times out of 10. Just being honest, okay? So, now, does that say more about me? Probably. But I think that I'm not in the minority there. I think I'm in the majority there. So, I don't know.
Yep. Mario Brothers is a great one. The tomato meter is 59%. Audience score 95. If you don't like Mario movie, if you don't like the Mario movie, maybe you didn't play the games as much as we did growing up. So there wasn't. I'm sorry, but like every 10 seconds in that movie, dude, there's a nod to something. There's a theme in the background. There's something going on that is nostalgia filled. So I thought it was great. I agree with the 95%. Whatever. If you didn't play a whole lot of Mario, I can see you not liking it. If you straight up don't like it though, you're nitpicking too hard.
What's Deadpool and Wolverine right now? It made the cut. It's one of the 4 or 5 movies I will watch for the entire year. So
Deadpool and Wolverine right now has a 78 tomato meter and 95 audience score.
So I mean, okay, the critics are whatever. Critics probably bashing the runtime, if I had to guess, because it is a little long. There's some moments that probably could have been cut, but it's not
2 hours and 8
good.
minutes. Yeah.
It's good. It's a good movie. So
yeah,
it is easily a top 5 post Endgame Marvel movie. Easily top 5.
That somebody said that Wakanda Forever was the best movie since Endgame.
I'm so glad that you're like straight jail time.
You deserve jail time.
I said, insane. Dude, maybe one of the hotter takes I ever gave in the history of this podcast so far is like harsher punishments, more authoritarianism. I'm obviously not in favor of like actual authoritarian governments or anything, but earlier I saw like a mostly empty Dunkin' Donuts cup on a clothing rack at Target, and I'm like, why shouldn't you be in jail? And I don't, there could be a misunderstanding. There could be, I left on accident, then I couldn't find it, whatever. What's happening 95% of the time? But on the way into Target, there was a cart / buggy.
All those handicap spots were taken, and I had to walk.
I don't even look at the one that we go to most of the time. But that one day, it was really bad. At a different Target. On the way in the parking lot, towards the end of the parking lot, and you know how Target, Walmart, most Kroger parking lots are, where like at the end, it's just desolate isolation down there. Nothing's down there at all. Well, there was a cart flipped all the way upside down. On its, like, completely upside down. And I'm like, some punk teenager did that, right? Mm-hmm. No consequences, whatever. And is it really harming society that much? No. But it's crap like that brings out the boomer in me, and I'm like, you need a swift kick in the rear.
Yeah, for sure.
By the foot of the law.
100%.
You do.
Okay, or me.
Tell me I'm wrong. Like, you need something. Something needs to happen, because we clearly don't fear consequences. Well, some Target employee's going to come pick up my Dunkin' cup and throw it away. I don't care. That's garbage, dude. That's literal garbage, actually. That's crap. Literally. That's what that is.
I fully agree. I tweeted about it the other day. If you make a Mario Maker level with pick a pipe or pick a door, jail time. Go to jail. Like, you suck. Like, there are so many things, dude, like that. Like, you leaving a Dunkin' cup in Target. Like you said, maybe there's a 5% chance that it was a misunderstanding. They forgot.
I forgot it.
Whatever. I think 95% chance. Not likely.
Lazy, but.
And I think a lot of those things can give a lot of insight into a person. Like,
yes,
if you leave 100%. The movie theater trash, if you leave your movie theater trash everywhere, well, somebody will clean it. I hate you. You are
exactly.
If you don't put your cart in the return, put your cart in the return.
Yesterday, I watched someone at Jungle Gyms. I'm right behind them to return my cart. She walks up to the cart return and just pushes it, like sideways. Like they're all facing like this, right, like head on. Mm-hmm. And she goes like this and pushes it. And I just turned my neck and looked at her. She didn't look at me, so it didn't matter. And I put mine in, and I went and grabbed hers and put it in. Right? Yeah. And I'm like, you're that freaking lazy? Not to mention she was like right next to it. But all she had to do was like a quick 90-degree turn, and she was right there.
Yeah. The people who like park just like 2 spots away from one and just leave it in their spot or whatever. I'm like,
unreal.
Oh my god.
Unreal.
I really want to take. I want to take that cart like as we're leaving and just full speed throw it at their car.
Yeah.
Like this is what might happen to somebody else's car because you're a piece of crap.
And here's my thing. I fully acknowledge. Am I the model citizen? No. Am I the golden member of society? No.
Right.
The fact that I'm not, and I can still look at you and acknowledge, like, holy crap, so many people are dead weight to society these days. Mm-hmm. It's so bad. What do we do about it? Nothing. It's only going to get worse. That's every single sign points towards the fact that it's only going to get worse. But
it literally, yeah.
I don't know.
I just love, and like, and obviously I think about this more during election years. I'm like, these people's vote count the same as mine.
I think that all the time.
Like, these people with this is their maximum capacity to think. I saw one the other day. People were, I think it was in our community, it was on Facebook somewhere. But it was a vaccine thing, and whether you're pro-vaccine or not, whatever. But somebody said, all I'm saying is the flu shot was invented 1950, whenever it was, and we've still got the flu. Because of people like you, we have to get a new flu shot every year. Because of people like you, there's a constant strand of COVID vaccines. And then somebody else commented in response to that. I don't know how this is related at all. Yeah, my big thing is I think fluoride is unhealthy. Yeah. And they force that in our waters. They're trying. She literally said in the same comment, the government's been trying to kill us forever. Look at how they put fluoride in our water. It's unhealthy.
It doesn't
like,
pass
talk to
the
any dentist
conspiracy
ever.
Test to me. Why? What's the benefit in trying to kill us all?
That was my thing whenever it didn't get a lot of steam, thank God. But when people were like, oh, that vaccine is going to kill you. In a world where the government, whoever, did want to kill a portion of the population, they're going to kill the percentage that listens to them?
Right.
Make any sense, you big dummies?
Exactly.
Did you think a second about this?
Well, the free thinkers.
Oh, my God.
The free thinkers.
Oh, my God.
And by the way, I don't know who needs to hear this. No one that listens to our podcast needs to hear this, I guarantee it. Almost with 100% certainty, if you're listening to this podcast, you don't need to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyways.
Sure.
If you think that you're a free thinker, okay, do me a favor and really think critically. Are you a free thinker? Or do you think the fact that you're just in a terrible minority of people in the way you think makes you a free thinker? Because it doesn't. Mm-hmm. Going against the grain doesn't make me a free thinker. Oh, I eat my spaghetti with a spoon. I'm a free thinker. No, you're just a moron, dude. Yeah, congrats. No one else does that. No one's thinking to do that because it's dumb. Like, what are we doing? And I don't know. I don't know why that's the first example that came to mind, but it is. Just like something that is objectively dumb. People like to think that they are free thinkers. Kanye West is a great example because he does things that are objectively dumb, and therefore most people don't do them. What are you looking at, sir?
What the technical definition of a free thinker is: someone who thinks independently or freely and forms opinions based on reason rather than authority.
Here's my thing, especially based off that definition. And I was going to get to this, if we kept down this path, so I'll say it now anyways. People who are literal free thinkers will never go and call themselves a free thinker. Never. No. Right?
That's how it works for almost everything, dude. Yeah, if you're calling yourself a blank, you're probably not a blank.
I randomly thought the other day about how, I don't know why. I don't know why I thought of this. This was a few years ago at this point. We were on the iPhone 12 or the iPhone 13 or something, and LeBron James was seen with two phones, and they were both iPhone XRs. Okay? Someone pointed that out. He's out here rocking the XR. What a joke. And someone was like, that's because the only people who care about having this outward wealthy appearance in every single facet of their life over practicality, over this is my phone and it's good, over I've had this car, it's fine, I know what I'm getting, I've had it for 5 years, I don't need a new car, over that line of thinking, the only people who do that are people who aren't super wealthy, right? It would be someone in my shoes being like, I have to have the new car, I have to have the new iPhone, I need a Tesla, like I need everything new, I need the new TV. And it's like, you don't, dude. Like, not necessarily. Right. You just think you do. You need to give that appearance. And, like, the actual, LeBron James could buy and sell me and had two iPhone XRs just a couple years ago. So.
There you go. Yeah. I do love the memes of LeBron, dude. LeBron memes, he's always on, like, the first page of a book. He's not reading any of these books. He's always, like, on the first page.
They asked him about the book. He's like,
I think it's, a great story. Oh, I hope it's why you're reading it. Like, can you tell me anything else? Like,
yeah, I don't know. And I mean, there was one time when I asked him about a book, and he was like, "I'm not super far in." And I'm like, "Well, at least he was smart enough to say that time."
Yeah, he got switched up a little bit. He can't. Yeah.
It made it into my timeline yesterday. One time, under his breath in Miami, he called a reporter retarded.
I literally saw that today. Yeah,
and then he realized that like the mic caught it. He was like, and tried to play it off. So,
Mike, you're on the podium, bro. You assumed I would always assume some mic is hot in that room enough to pick me up because he didn't say it quietly either. It was like plain as day that he said that.
Yeah,
there was no escaping that he said that.
But
oh
yeah,
my God,
I can never imagine calling anyone or anything that word ever.
Never,
never,
not me.
Not me. Certainly not Patrick Starr. All of this to say, we got a great episode in store for you today. I found something interesting yesterday, and it's interesting because you coincidentally like brought this kind of subject up before we started. Kind of in a retro video game mood, right? And I know what you're thinking. Oh, video games again? That's not all we're going to talk about. Don't worry. It's just a little interjection here.
Briefly.
Little interjection here.
Interjection.
I bought Madden 07 yesterday for the GameCube, and I'm gonna have to take it back because it doesn't load correctly half the time, and I have to like open the tray and then close it, and sometimes open and close it, open and close it, open and close it for it to load the game. Once I'm in, it's really bad, frustrating. So I'm taking the game back. But something I knew to be aware of, something I find interesting, is that because I got it from the Nintendo GameCube. That's the retro console of that era that I currently own because my childhood PS2 stopped working one day, and I don't know why. It has memory cards, tiny little memory cards. Memory cards for the GameCube were 251 blocks. I don't know the block to megabyte ratio. I appreciate you going to Google it for me right now. A GameCube memory card is 251 blocks. It blows my mind, Hearn. I load up Madden 07. Before I can get into the game, it yells at me and says, there's not enough space on this memory card for everything that we have. You know why? Because of the 251 blocks that a GameCube memory card has, there's a list of 10 or so things that Madden 07 has as a possibility to save. Okay? Franchise is one. A replay of one play is another one. Those two things alone cannot go on one memory card. They can't. A franchise is 173 blocks every 251. I think a replay was exactly 170. That's more than a memory card. Not to mention there is a profile, which has your settings and things like that. There are custom rosters. There's a Hall of Famer, like superstar mode. All of these things combine to like a total of like 650 blocks, I think. I roughly totaled it yesterday. And that's like 3 memory cards. It's not only crazy to me that like one memory card couldn't hold it all. It's more so crazy to me of, oh my God, that's nothing. Do me a favor and tell me in today's storage world of megabytes, which is how we would look at it, what's 251 blocks? Or what's one block, I should say?
So 256 blocks is 1 megabyte.
Okay, I was wondering about that. I was wondering why it wasn't
that means
a power of 2 number. Why 251? Like, we're talking about the Johto Pokédex? That's the second Pokédex total number was 251.
Maybe the 5 is like, you know how when you get a thing nowadays, it's like 5 or some percentage of the memory is just like, it's used.
It's used.
Sorry,
already
it's used.
Formatting or something.
So maybe that's what that is. So all that to say, you have like, that memory card is like 1 megabyte, which is insane. I told
1,000th of a gig, right?
I told you today. I literally right before we recorded, I ordered a PlayStation 2. It arrived today. I had to order a memory stick for it. It's 256 megabytes. That stick.
Yeah.
That is over 250 times the memory of that
GameCube memory card.
That's crazy.
What was a typical? I want to say a typical PS2 memory card was 8 megabytes, right?
I think there was 8.
I have some in my closet right now. I'm not going to go dig them out. I could, though. I think they were 8. I had a blue and a red one. I remember that very vividly. So.
Yeah. So like 8 was the average. Some people say they had like 32s. Like I said, that one I got, it's like 256, which is
you're never going to need another
more than I'd ever need.
You're never going to need another.
Right.
You want to know something that was brought up to me that blows my mind, sir. I have a list here of how much storage space it would take to have every single game in a console's entire library. You want to take a guess? Let's just take a guess here. I'm gonna go from the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, probably just call it Nintendo, through the Game Boy Advance, and I could briefly touch on the other ones, but that's when they start to get a little bigger. Guess how much storage space you would need for every single NES game. All of them, and there are like 500 or 600. Let's put it that way.
Older than the GameCube, so obviously I'm assuming it's gonna be smaller than those.
Way older than the GameCube, yeah.
And the GameCube thing was like 1 megabyte, dude. That was for
the memory card.
Obviously not every game ever. Yeah, that's not for every game ever. I don't know, dude. I'm not gonna guess more than 2 megabytes.
It is more than 2 megabytes, but not by, for the entire library though. For 500 or 600 games,
right?
237 megs for the entire NES library. That blows my mind. You could have the entirety of
I guess I didn't realize how many games there are then.
What?
I didn't realize there was that many games then. I guess there must be a decent amount of games.
There's a ton of Nintendo games. They were like shoveling games out left and right that you've never heard of for the NES. The meaningful games, there's probably only about 50 to 75.
Let's say.
So.
That's so crazy. Okay.
I won't make you play the rest of the games because I don't know that this is that interesting of a game, but we can just go a little bit here. For the Super Nintendo, it almost 8x's to 1.7 gigs for the entire Super Nintendo library.
Wow.
But that's still nothing. I had 8 gigabyte flash drives as a kid, right? That was saving papers and stuff. What I found interesting was someone mentioned that like the entirety of what was it? The entirety of like the Pokemon spin-off games pre like Nintendo Switch were less than the size of the video file that I was watching. Less of the size of the video I was watching on YouTube. Wow. I'm recording just my section of the video right now. It's going to be between 10 and 15 gigs, roughly. That is enough to have the entire NES, Super Nintendo, SNES, Nintendo 64, GameCube, not GameCube, I'm sorry, NES, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance libraries. Or just one video of me talking.
I was saying, that's insane, dude. I just not checking. Episode 54, the entire episode is 38 gigs.
Wow, that's a huge file, though. 38 gigs?
Yeah, I mean, it was almost an hour and a half.
That seems massive.
Of 60
That's
of
the
60
render
FPS
size?
and yeah, 38.
What was last week's on my thing? I wonder if I'm doing something different from you. Brief interjection, folks. Yeah, dude. Episode 53 was 5.53 gigs. Why is that one 8 times the size, my God? What is that in 16K? Oh, my God.
It says 38 gigs. So it's 38 gigabytes.
Is that an MP4?
Yeah.
What are you into?
No, it's a MOV. It's a MOV.
Okay, .movie. Wonder if that's why. We'll have to compare quality. I wonder, because, yeah, I guess there is some variation when I edit versus when you edit.
Go into the bit rate, I guess. I don't know.
It's got to be bit rate. It's got to be bit rate.
What's your bit rate?
I don't know. Can I find it in the properties of the video?
That's only under audio. Data rate, total bit rate. I'm not in our
editing app right now. Oh, total bit rate is 9,582 kilobytes per second.
9,000?
Yeah, what's yours?
63,000.
7 times better. Oh my God, that's so great.
Why? Okay. What are we doing? What are we doing differently?
It's the file, the export file. Yeah. When I go to export and render the video, I click on the YouTube formatting.
Oh, okay, I don't do that.
That's what I do. Yeah, that would be the main difference. Not that it matters. The more you know. We just found out differences between the way we... Dude, I bet it takes hours to upload to YouTube then, doesn't it?
I'd say about an hour, normally.
Yeah, see, mine takes like 15 minutes to get into YouTube. That's why.
Yeah, okay.
But it takes longer just to put my video of me into our Google Drive. Like, that takes over an hour. It takes like an hour, 20 minutes versus putting the actual finished podcast episode on YouTube. The more you know.
Yep.
You mentioned something about what made you bring up asterisks before the podcast. Can you say it again?
We were looking through how I do the timestamps of all the episodes. I listened through and I put timestamps. I put an asterisk on a timestamp if I think it's a above average funny clip.
Yeah. And if you didn't know, if you're watching on YouTube or if you follow us on Twitter, that's at HeadacheSpot on Twitter. My guy, the Herniator, always hooks us up. It's in the comments on YouTube, correct? Where you could just, scroll through the timestamps and see if there's a subject you want to hear. We know that that's a thing some people like.
I love it. I love when those are in videos.
I'd never use it for podcasts ever, I will say. I will raw dog the whole podcast, beginning to end. I skip the ads. That's it, right? Like, that's it.
Yeah, fair.
But for some YouTube videos, I will do that. So,
okay.
Anyways.
Okay.
I was at Target earlier today, as I said, and going to check out, and I'm sandwiched between two people who clearly were like, they look like they just left church. They're all in nicer clothes, whatever. They're all talking to each other, and first of all, I'm annoyed because we're standing in line, and they're like talking through me. Literally, to start the conversation, it looked like they were looking at me like this, but they were talking to someone behind me, and so I just like stepped out of the way awkwardly.
Yep.
And I was like, good God, man. And it came up again, Hearn. It came up again.
Again?
Do you want me to do something, drop some off at home, or do you want to just meet at Kaluga? It's not Kaluga! I don't care if everyone says it is. K-U-L-I-G-A. In no freaking world is that Kaluga! It's not!
Need to get some citizens of Cincinnati on the pod.
Citizens are wrong. I don't care what the citizens say. Just like the citizens of Louisville are wrong. It's not Louisville. I don't care. Another one that's pissed me off that I've been wanting to talk about on the podcast for weeks is asterisk. It's asterisk. There is an S before that K. It's not asterisk. Why does everyone say asterisk or asterisks?
I thought it was asterisks. I thought it was like SKS. I thought it was always.
But the way you said it when we were talking, and the way you said it just now, I didn't hear that last S before the K. I heard asterisk.
Asterisk.
Say it.
Asterisk. Hang on.
See? That's how everyone says it. That's how you've been saying it. That's exactly how you've been saying it.
Asterisk. Asterisks.
See?
Huh.
No one says that. Asterisk. There's an asterisk.
Asterisk.
That's harder to say. I should say asterisks. People have been clowning on Michigan. There's an asterisk by your national title. And not only are they wrong, because there will never be one in any record book, there will never be one on any formal presentation of it. I don't care if colloquially there's an asterisk, according to Ohio State and Michigan State fans. Because you're the two fan bases I care the least about in terms of what you think about Michigan winning the national title. Other than the fact that it's generated plenty of your tears. But if you're gonna say it right. Not only do you sound dumb for the content of what you're saying the dumb content in a dumb way. Asterisk. 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 Yes, it's a little bit harder to say. That's the word. I don't really care that it's a little harder to say. Say the word. It's not asterisk. It's not asterisk. It's not. It's never been asterisk. I hate that. I cringe every time I hear asterisk or asterisks. There's an asterisk next to it. No, there's not. That's not a thing. What are your thoughts, sir?
Nuh-uh. I mean,
Nuh-uh. I've been
there are
thinking
times
lately.
Nuh-uh. There are people who definitely are like too ignorant to know. Like, if
Well,
you
I'm about making it
genuinely
for
don't
myself.
know,
Yeah.
been a long I've been waiting for this.
Well, I don't know what it is.
There are definitely people like if you don't know the correct like there to use. I'm like, okay, I think you're stupid.
I think you're a little down. Or
If you like,
your kills me.
yeah. Sometimes your will autocorrect and it'll screw you.
Yeah,
and you don't read
does.
it right.
It
like
does
whatever.
sometimes.
The right there isn't going to autocorrect. You type the wrong one.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to you. So yeah, like I don't know, asterisk. I feel like I definitely have said that. I'm not saying I say that every time. It might be one of those words where like I say asterisk, I say asterisk, I say asterisks. I don't know, but
okay. Well, that's it. That's the end of the sentence right there. That's the end of the conversation.
Yeah. I was like,
I
thought you were
sounds like you stopped
adjusting. You were adjusting your hat. I thought you were about to like unleash something.
No, it sounded like you were mid-sentence. I didn't know you were done talking.
Sometimes I do that, but
that has killed me. That's all I wanted to say. Please, let us know at Headaches Pod. Do you also hear other people say this? Do you yourself say asterisk or asterisk? And if so, why?
I like using, ask the average person what an ampersand is. Nobody knows.
I don't know why nobody knows what an ampersand is either. Why don't you know what an ampersand is? Yeah, you do know what an ampersand is.
Yeah, you know what an ampersand is.
Yeah.
But people are like, oh, like, I never heard it called that. Like, you've never heard of that called.
Is there another one that's kind of weird like that? Tilde, maybe? Tilde is a little not as common in English, though.
Yeah.
You know what a tilde is?
That's the squiggly?
Squiggly. That's what everybody would call it. Yeah.
The one that I use all the time whenever I say like around 9:15. Around.
Yeah. Because that's what it means. But like, I guess pound would be another one because now it's hashtag, and I don't mind anybody saying hashtag, whatever. But like, it's technically called a pound sign. Mm-hmm. Is a percent sign called a percent sign, or does it have a term? I've always wondered about that.
Name of a.
Same with the little like thing that means exponent. I don't know what that.
I think I've always called that a caret.
Yeah, okay, I've heard it called a caret or carrot top. I've heard both. But I don't know that.
Also known as a percent mark.
Okay, so yeah, it's percent sign. Whatever.
Apparently in hacker jargon, the percent sign is called grapes. That's fun.
What kind of jargon?
Hacker jargon.
Hacker jargon, they call it grapes?
Yeah, that's fun.
Way easier than saying percent sign. You know.
Yeah. Great.
Because I guess you need the percent sign for coding, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, I thought so. Dude, I had to use... Have you ever used Linux? Do you code in Linux?
I do not code in Linux, but I've for classes and stuff, I had to use Linux.
I've never felt dumber in my entire life trying to use a computer that works in Linux. Because you know how, like, on a Windows computer or a Mac, you go on and, like, here's this app I would like to use. Click, click. Not on a Linux computer. Not at all.
They refuse to make it a good user experience.
Dude, what were they thinking? You need a literal Google certificate. Not even being funny. You need like an actual Google certificate to use a Linux computer. I'm going to laugh, and I've told this before a little bit, and I'm just kind of giving him a hard time, so I don't mean anything bad about it. But my wife, Kat, got a hand-me-down Mac from her father. He didn't need it anymore. He used it for work or in the past. It was still a perfectly fine Mac with like a decent processor, okay? Decent at least. This was like 4 years ago too, by the way. So like, I don't know if it's still a decent processor or not because we don't really use it. But it had an issue. It needed wiped, okay? And my brother-in-law, her brother, is like an IT person for a company. He uses Linux. Nice. That's what he uses. He loves Linux. He thinks it's, great, and he's phenomenal at it. I mean, the guy can do anything. The guy set up something for me that helped me with something on a Nintendo DS. Okay? It was like crazy. And we needed to wipe it, and like factory reset it, but we didn't have any of the password info. It was being really funky. It was being weird, okay? Mm-hmm. So he's like, give it to me, I'll figure it out. Like, okay, great. He gives it back, and he goes, here, it's set up for you. Like, it's going to act like a new user setup. And by the way, I put Linux on it. And so she gets in, she's like, I don't know what this is. I don't know how to use this computer. She doesn't know how to use the computer.
And by the way, I made it unusable.
Without meaning to, that is exactly what he said to us. Like, he didn't know that's what he was saying to us. But that's exactly what he said to us. And it was helpful to a degree, and he had very good intentions, because his intention was, now if it has issues, I'm very capable of helping to diagnose and fix the issues.
Right.
Which is kind of true. Like, I used it for something funky. I used it to create some sort of virtual hotspot with no password. I don't know, kind of weird. Which, by the way, do you know how impossible it is to set up a hotspot without a password these days?
Good.
It's weird. It's very hard.
Good. It should be hard. That's not good.
I needed it. I just needed it for an Nintendo DS purpose. This is what I was talking about. I needed it for Pokemon. I needed it for the Pokemon. And I'm like, I can't set it up. My phone won't let me. My personal router won't let me. If I buy one from the store, it won't let me. What do I do? So, and they're all like, you can't. I'm like, this is America. What do you mean I can't?
There's a lot of things now, like, especially where first world country problem, whatever, like, a lot of our baby stuff, like our baby monitor, the sound machine and stuff, we can control from our phones. Therefore, they connect to the Wi-Fi. They will not connect to a network without a password. So, like, 90% of the time, if we go to a hotel and it has Wi-Fi, we can't. Like, I can't check the baby camera.
It has those pop-up screens. So, it's no password. Click on it, and then you need login info. Those don't work on most things, people. Right?
So I have to. Me or my wife make a hotspot on our phone and connect everything to that hotspot.
Have you ever had to call a hotel like affiliate of sorts and be like, "Hey, can you approve my Nintendo Switch MAC address?" Because I have on a couple occasions.
Wow.
Where like, it's a thing. I found it on a Reddit thread. They're like, most hotels have an IT number, like through their IT provider or through the internet provider. You call it, and you need to give them your literal MAC address for your Switch, give them your checkout time, and then it'll connect to the Wi-Fi and bypass that screen because the Nintendo Switches can't pull up those pop-up screens a lot of the time. Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. Insane. What were we thinking with the whole, like, it's no password, but there is a password? Just make a password! Well, but what about for the gas stuff? Then just change the password! What? You mean to tell me it would be harder? You mean to tell me it would be harder to just change the password, change your WPA2 key on a regular basis once a week, right? Once a week we change it, right? So, hey, I know you're staying Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, this is the password. Saturday, we're going to change it. You just have to go to the front desk and get it. Maybe a little bit of a hassle there. Is that easier than, hey, you need to like type in your first name or your room number, whatever, and all that information is kept elsewhere to know whether or not you are allowed to be on the internet? No! Maybe easier from a user experience, but I, as a user, am complaining. This is dumb. What idiots out there.
We've raged on idiots a lot this episode. It's been fun.
Speaking of idiots, I have another great pull from a Reddit thread that we really loved, which was, what was your, quote, I'm dating an effing idiot moment? And
half quote.
This person, it's technically not a quote.
You said quote, I got excited. I was like, he's going to say it.
No. It has quotes in the title. Whatever. I lost the actual one that I scrolled back to the top and I lost it. I'm going to find it. This person was talking to their brother's girlfriend, if I'm not mistaken, talking about how they were really excited about an Italy trip they were planning. They are American. She offered to drive. And it got me thinking.
Where did she think Italy
was? First of all, where is Italy in your mind? Central America? Like go through Mexico, all those places?
Or is she thinking the land bridge still exists?
Yeah.
That has been gone for how many centuries?
Millennia, maybe. It got me thinking. People from the UK, there's a lot of cross-country talk right now because of the Olympics, which are still going on as of the time of recording, and it kills me when we get griefed as a country for the fact that we're willing to make long drives. I don't blame her for thinking, I'll drive to Italy, because if we could, there would be people who would.
Yep.
Right, 14 hours? It's definitely more than 14 hours to drive to Italy. I'm just throwing that out there.
Right.
People would do it. People do drive, like, coast to literal coast.
Yeah.
And someone in the UK was like, what on earth do you mean 4-hour drive? And someone put up the entire UK with the outline of Texas, and Texas is way bigger than the entire United Kingdom. Those people that used to, like, pillage villages and enslave people, and were like, it's like, You're not even
And now
big.
they're going to come after us. They're going to come after us for our online posts. Have you seen that?
No.
Have you seen that on Twitter?
No.
They can apparently in their country, like they like jail people for like stuff they tweet, like if they find it offensive or whatever. And well,
not in the United
I don't know
Kingdom.
exactly.
No way.
I don't know exactly what it is, but everything about it's the UK. I quote tweeted something about it yesterday. Some police commissioner, which whoop-de-doo. Nobody cares what the police commissioner in New Braunfels, Texas has to say, but for some reason we care about what the police commissioner somewhere in the UK.
Yeah.
But he said, quote, "We will come for you." First off, no, you can't. You can't come for me. I'm over here.
Yeah.
The jurisdiction is a thing. I can say what I want over here. Like, the responses to that. So yeah, apparently in their country, they pretty much don't have freedom of speech as far as like. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean by freedom of speech. We already had that.
Yes,
rant.
Yes.
Freedom of speech means you can say what you want. That doesn't mean there's no consequences.
Freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences. You can say what you want. There can be consequences. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
They have a much less degree of that apparently than we do. So
yeah,
that's what I was getting at there.
It is kind of weird though, because what does freedom of speech mean? This is not anything that I'm talking about. But what does freedom of speech mean as opposed to a place where there's not freedom of speech? Because in other countries, you can still say what you want and there are still consequences. Playing devil's advocate here. What do you mean? What
I
does it
think
mean to
so.
you that distinguishes it?
Freedom of speech means, I think it's like Congress can't make anything to like. Hang on, let me just see exactly what this says.
Yeah.
Congress shall make no law abridging freedom of speech. Is what that means.
Yeah.
So like
it's freaking vague bullcrap that could mean
right,
a million
as
different
always.
things. But like that is the gospel on that old piece of paper. Don't get me started.
Freedom of speech includes the right not to speak, whatever that means.
Yeah.
What the crap are these
You have
things?
the right to remain silent. That's what that means.
This is from UnitedStatesCourts.gov. It's a .gov site. Freedom of speech includes the right not to speak, of students to wear black armbands to school to protest a war, to use certain offensive words and phrases to convey political messages, to contribute money to political campaigns, to advertise commercial products, to engage in symbolic speech. It does not include the right to incite imminent lawless action, to make or distribute obscene materials, to burn draft cards, students to make an obscene speech at a school-sponsored event, students to advocate illegal drug use. So yeah, it is kind of like, well, you can do that, but you can't do that. Like,
yeah, it kind
but
of
I do think a lot of it's like obvious.
A lot of it
I do
is
think a
obvious.
lot
like
I understand that freedom of speech means I can say I hate Star Wars, but it doesn't mean I can go on a school website and be like, buy this crack cocaine. Like, I understand.
I don't. Yeah, to a normal person like you or I'm never going to run into an issue with freedom of speech. I'm never going to have a problem where I'm like, what about my freedom of speech? Or like, you know, like you probably said some wild stuff, dude. That like, I don't know what to tell you. So we have been misguided as a society to feel like that it means I can say whatever I want to say and no one can stop me or do anything about it.
Right.
And that's just not the case. Nor do I think it should be the case.
Right.
So, like this person, drive to Italy, jail, get out of here. Just kidding, not jail for that, not for that. Dunkin' Cup at Target,
apparently...
sure. Drive to Italy, no, but like, you know, I probably like, you know, I hate that your vote counts the same.
That is apparently that thing. Like in the UK, there's like, oh, I had such a long drive, and it's like an hour drive.
Yeah.
And we're like, you realize in some of our states, you could drive 8 hours and still be in that state.
I drove
like,
41 minutes both ways yesterday at the Jungle Gyms. 41 there, 41 back now.
You could visit probably 2 or 3 countries.
Oh, easily. That does blow my mind. That does blow my mind a little bit. I'm like,
it is really
what?
Weird. I do think that's partially why we're so, like, compared to a lot of the world, like, not well-traveled. Because we practically have to fly unless you want to drive all the way down into Mexico and then drive up into Canada or whatever. Even then, that's pretty much it. You're not going to go much farther than that, right?
Was it you who posted that TikTok that I saw on Twitter about that? Or was it someone else? Someone posted a TikTok of someone from the UK saying that same thing. He's like, guys, I'm visiting the United States, and now I completely understand why they don't leave the United States a lot of the time. And for what it's worth, I fully intend to and would love to leave the United States. It's just an arm and a leg on top of it being, a bunch of red tape making it super hard because some of you all are morons and, liked to blow up planes back in the day and hijack planes and crap like that. I'm being serious, Hearn. That is exactly why there are issues and it takes such a freaking hassle to do anything. Why is it hard to do this? Because someone had to ruin it. That's why. Or because people have ruined everything else, we have to anticipate the fact that someone's going to ruin it. Like, I'm actually on the record on this podcast as, and this is, not making light of this at all. I'm not making light of this. I'm not making light of this. For legal purposes, this does not represent any negative opinion or am I making light of this at all. But why did it take 9/11 for TSA to be like, probably shouldn't let you bring bombs on planes? Gee! God dang, people. So, it's a fine line.
That's how we are, dude.
It's exactly how we are.
It takes a disaster.
We will ruin everything.
It takes a disaster to make anything. But even then,
we will make a disaster. Don't worry. We will.
But sometimes it doesn't. Like, I saw something today that really shocked me, and I remember it being that wasn't the case whenever I was there. And I was like, it's still that way? This year, for the first time at Milan Puskar Stadium in Morgantown, West Virginia, they will have metal detectors as you walk in. I was like, it's 2024, and all 20,000 people at every single game, nobody's getting metal detected?
I go to enough
That's crazy.
Sporting events where I can say this and it's not obvious who I'm talking about, and that is intentional with what I'm saying here. I'm not going to say this on purpose just because you just never know. I've been to a specific place where I was like, oh my God, they did not really do anything to prevent me from bringing in anything illegal that could cause mass murder. That's horrifying. Oh my God. What are we thinking? What are we waiting for? And we know the answer of what we're waiting for. Essentially, we're waiting for someone to ruin it. It's going to be like this till someone ruins it. I don't get it. I'm sorry.
I thought about that specifically. We were flying back from Denver, and we were in Denver International Airport. And there was a time we stood in line for TSA for almost 3 hours.
Yeah. And you're like, you mean to tell me someone could have a bomb?
Yeah.
Someone could have a bomb in here?
That's what I'm saying. There were literally thousands of people in this one ginormous area. We're shoulder to shoulder in a line that bobbed and weaved 30 times. I'm like, dude, Square Center blows up. Thousands.
Yeah. Cooked. Bro.
That's insane, dude. That's insane.
I've thought about that often, but I'm also an overthinker and overworrier,
Right.
My mind immediately goes to the worst.
We had the other day. I'm overthinking, so I have thought about this before, but I never thought. Did you ever think it actually happened? I was at work last week. Every time we've ever had a drill, they email us before. Hey, we're gonna have a fire drill today at 2 p.m. Whatever.
Why? What's the point of the drill then?
Well, on one end, I agree with that. But on the other end, I don't know. I think, yes, having a warning for the drill kind of reduces the, why are we doing it? But also, for us, and I imagine a lot of places, we have, 3 distinct alarms. There's a fire alarm, there's a tornado alarm, and there's an active shooter alarm. Yeah. They're all the same alarm. It's just, the way it pulses is different.
Okay.
And I'm not knowledgeable enough to say, oh, yeah, the active shooter alarm does this, and the fire alarm sounds like this. It's all the same alarm. It's just different pulses.
Sure.
So we're standing there with no warning. Alarm starts going off. And there is an announcer in the background, a recorded message. It's like, can I have your attention, please? A blah, 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 blah. Proceed with whatever. But you can't hear the announcer because the siren's too loud. Yeah, the alarm's too loud. So we're all standing there. I'm like, there might be an active shooter 40 cubes away. And I don't know because I can't hear the alarm. So everybody's just scrambling. It was panic. Everybody's just running around with tornado, fire, or active shooter. Very different in how you would respond to those things. But we're like, everybody just assumes the worst. We're like, active shooters! People are sprinting, dude. I was surprised somebody got trampled. It was madness.
But you had emails ahead of time knowing there was going to be a drill?
No, that's what I'm saying. We didn't. That's what made it be madness.
I thought you said
that's what in the past we had. This day we did not. That's why we were all like, didn't get an email. Don't know there's a drill. I can't hear the freaking announcer. I'm going to assume the worst.
We get emails letting us know within the coming 2 weeks. Hey, anytime during these 2 weeks, there could be a drill.
Okay. That's fair.
So
normally it's literally day and time. Today at 12:30, fire alarm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, That does no good.
Well,
because then you're gonna
on
know,
one end,
make sure you're
yes.
able to get out quickly and like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
On one end, yes, but on the other end, compared to what happened last week, I was like, okay, I see why they give warnings.
But also,
it was
like,
madness.
if that's how it's gonna be, you need to know. You need to be practiced on how it's gonna be. If it's gonna be mass panic, you need to be practiced on how to get out amid mass panic.
Yeah.
So,
You need to watch
just
where
putting it out there.
everybody else goes and find the other exit or whatever
Yeah.
you need to do.
So, is your building very tall, or no?
2 stories.
Okay.
It's very, very wide, but it's only 2 stories.
Working at a tall building as an overthinker is not fun. I Googled whether or not I would have survived 9/11 when I got this job. Because I'm like, hold on a minute. Like, what floors were screwed? Like, because I'm curious. I can't help but be curious. What do you want me to do? I'm an overworrier.
You should have been fine.
Overthinker. I'm like, would my floor have made it? Thank God the floor I was on when I got hired would have made it. We would have been fine. I would have got out. I would just walk down blankety blank floors and I would have been fine. So
That is
I would have
so
been
like,
good.
yeah, what you're saying is true. Yes, but like that. So what ended up happening with that drill? Come to find out, because finally we moved to a specific spot where we could hear the announcement, and it was a tornado drill. So we all actually ended up needing to stay in the building and go to the concreted areas or wherever the tornado shelter.
The tomato.
And the tomato shelter. And we were so like there's 40 of
Tomato
us.
seltzer. That sounds delicious. Go to the tomato seltzer.
I need to record that.
I want to cut you off so hard right now to let you know that your favorite celebrity, the quote Haktua girl, misquoted a song to the worst degree I've ever seen in my entire life. She said, "Do you know Empire State of Mind, Jay-Z and Alicia Keys?" Okay. When Alicia Keys goes, "In New York," what does she follow that up with? Do you know or do you not know?
Concrete jungle where dreams are made of. I think.
Is that really what she says?
Where dreams... Concrete,
Why? I should probably figure this out myself.
Where dreams are made of doesn't make sense. I thought it said.
But that is a saying for New York, is where dreams are made of, by the way. Not where dreams are made, where dreams are made of. That is a real thing.
Then I think that is it then. I think it's concrete jungle where dreams are made of.
Because I want to make sure I get this right.
And then there's a different one.
Yes. So, you've got a spot on. And I'm glad to say that I also had a spot on. I'm like, hold on a minute, let me make sure I get this right. Haktua girl, says, "Concrete jungle, wet dream, tomato."
She really thought that was it?
Concrete jungle, wet dream, tomato.
She belongs on that list of people misheard lyrics. Remember that? How terrible those were?
No.
The misheard lyrics that you found, they were always about sausage.
Yeah, dude, that one person was being so stupid. That was clearly one person being like, "I just think of sausage every time I hear it." Like, dude, seek help, my guy. That's a Headaches and Outtakes deep cut. So,
All I have to say,
concrete jungle, wet dream, tomato.
while 40 of us were crowded in one tomato seltzer room, somebody said, like, "Do you actually think this building will survive a tornado?" And we were like, I trust the ground floor, which I am on the ground floor. They're like, "I trust the ground floor." Like, second story?
No.
See ya.
Cooked.
Bye.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm like, cool. Well, I'm on the ground floor anyway.
For an overthinker and an overworrier, I'm kind of dumb. I was standing at an escalator by one of the big malls in Cincinnati, and it's just like a huge panel of glass with no railings or frills or anything stopping you from falling. And I'm like, it's like this thick, I would say, roughly, okay?
Okay.
And I'm like, how sturdy is this? Because I was kind of casually leaning. I'm like, is this actually good? So I like take it and I literally go like, to see like, is this going to actually hold? And it didn't budge an inch. I'm like, thank God. Same thing for the windows in my building. Good. I'm like, dude, I'm like chilling, waiting for my food to microwave. And I'm like leaning over, looking down, blankety blank floors. And I'm like, man, this is literally just glass keeping me from falling. And so I'm like, I'm going to back up a little bit. And I'm like, like, because I'm not like punching it or anything, but I'm like, is this really going to hold me if it needs to? Is it even a little bit not sturdy? And it's good. So someone's doing their job. But there are instances where people don't do their job. And stuff happens. So
after working in a glass factory for 3 years and tempered glass, I don't do it. I don't trust it. The number of times that like there'd be times like for a specific test, we would have to break a piece of glass to see like the way it broke. They could tell if it was tempered correctly or not.
Okay.
Sometimes we couldn't break the piece. We could not break this piece of glass. We would drop hammers on it or whatever. Boom! You have to hit it just right. But then sometimes the next piece of glass tempered the exact same size, the exact same thickness. You tap the corner, poof, the whole thing.
It's insane.
Explodes.
It's meant to do that, though, right? It's meant to shatter. Tempered glass is supposed to do that,
tempered,
right?
yes. Because anneal glass is the other. That's what like your house windows are made of. That's like in movies when like the big shards of glass break.
Yeah.
That stuff, dude. Anytime you've ever watched a movie and somebody is launched through a window, that big shards break off of it, they should have died. 10,000%.
You've been screwed. Like, because either like you're going at a crazy speed to do that, right? And the collision's going to be bad, or to break that window is going to cause just mass destruction to your insides with like the massive.
It's so sharp, dude. It's so sharp. And it's so fragile. Anneal glass, you could flick it and break it. I promise. Some things. It's
window?
so thin. Some windows, not like your house windows, but some like this pane of a window. It'd be so thin, like a small window too. Just, it breaks. But then you're gonna cut yourself. So yeah, movies are unrealistic.
That's like the way. Have you seen the way people rob cars these days? Like, while they're like driving, people will like, because it's a whole thing, especially in bigger cities. I think one of the worst cities for it was like San Francisco. Okay. Terrible city for it. You know Mark Rober, the YouTuber? He does the stink bombs, the fart glitter bombs.
Oh yes, I love that.
Glitter bomb guy. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Everyone knows him as glitter bomb guy. He's massive. Yeah. He does one video a month. 25+ million views per video. So this is why I learned about this. But he's like, people will put a glove on that has one tiny little thing in the middle, tiny little like stud. They'll walk up to cars in traffic that are like stopped, and it's like bumper to bumper traffic that's not moving. They'll literally go like this. They'll just like not even like they'll just go like that like into the window, and they're like pros. So like it's someone's driving the car as they're going. They'll go shh, and they'll pull down your back thing to your back seats to get into your trunk and try to pull stuff out of your trunk. But I think that's crazy that the glass breaks that easy. Shh.
Yeah.
They're just pushing.
That's insane.
Pushing gently.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I know what you're thinking. He's not Iron Man. He said.
He's not Iron Man. Yeah. So that's why I don't trust it. You will never catch me leaning on anything glass. And yeah, like probably it would never happen, but
But if it were to happen, and we've discussed many times on this podcast, boy, wouldn't it happen to us. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
Wouldn't it happen to us? Wouldn't we go out like that?
Exactly correct. Yep.
Yeah. So to a degree, overthinker. To a degree, kind of got to test it. I don't know. Kind of want to test it.
Wasn't there, and this might be entirely fabricated, but there was a story of some guy at a decently tall building who like repetitively, I think they used the term ran. I don't know if he was actually running into it or not, but he like kept on hitting the window and eventually it broke.
Yeah, I've heard that story. This wasn't recent, correct?
I don't know. The whole thing might be fake anyway.
I have zero doubt in my mind that would be the case. I mean, it's just people like you and me putting these in. And yes, I would hope someone somewhere in an office making more money than me is making sure that's probably not going to happen. But I don't think that you should be necessarily putting these in. Like, I think these are, battering ram proof, human battering ram proof. Like, what? What are we doing?
Gary Hoy, a Canadian lawyer who died when he fell from his 24th floor of his office building in Toronto in an attempt to prove to a group of prospective articulating students that the building's glass windows were unbreakable. He threw himself against the glass. The glass did not break when he hit it, but the frame gave way, and he fell to his death.
So the window was unbreakable.
Apparently, he was right. He proved it.
My guy Gary,
down
what he was
this hill.
Talking about. Oh, good God. Hey, Gary. Yeah, spot on, bro. Nice call, bro.
You're right. The window didn't break.
You were right. Sold. I told you.
Yes, he disappears.
Not funny. Not funny. But I had to make it joke anyways.
That's funny.
I think we've gone enough off the rails. Do you want to point out something that you wanted to point out from this interesting Reddit thread, or do you want to end the episode?
Yeah, I got two quick ones from the same Reddit thread of what was your "I'm dating an effing idiot" moment. One was we had a heated debate about whether or not dinosaurs were alive during the American Revolution. Her stance was, there's really no way to know.
Hashtag technically not wrong. She's technically not wrong that there is no way to be 100% certain. But, my God, dude. Give me a break.
And then another one, a random quick one. She said the temperature in her house never changed, so she couldn't understand why she was always hot or cold. She had never taken the packaging off of the digital thermometer.
Yeah, I saw
so when
that.
she looked at 72, that was the sticker.
Unbelievable. It's always 72. It's always 72.
My house is great. It's always a crisp 72.
Crisp 72, which is hot for a house, by the way.
That's warm for a
house on 72. I think I am currently keeping it on 72 because I think the AC's been overworking these past few weeks. Yeah. So like pump it up a little bit, make that thing kick off, you know. So
what do you keep your house on?
68 or 69, one of the two.
Okay. Yeah. Same. I think that's like
it's perfect
standard.
It's not even to be funny, but 69 is a perfect temperature to keep your house at. It really is. So
yeah, I think so.
That being said, Kat does mostly control the temperature. She cares a little bit more about it than I do. She needs to control it because she's always hot or cold.
Yes.
So I generally, what do I keep it on? Whatever she has it on. I don't really care. I'm mostly fine. Even in the car, I'm mostly fine, no matter what. So
yeah, we just go with the flow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's warm in the house today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I have this fun thing with my house though, where I'm gonna live in constant dread of a potential $10,000 purchase I'm gonna have to make one of these days. A potential $10,000 purchase I'm gonna have to finance because my AC is super old and it uses a chemical that is illegal now to produce and import. So the chemical, I'm allowed to have the AC. The AC's fine.
Whoa.
But they can't produce and sell this chemical to refill my AC anymore in the United States. So, like, once this thing runs out of what it's using to make cold air in my house, I'm cooked. And I don't think it poses any health risk or anything. Like,
what is it? It's not Freon, right?
I don't think it's... Maybe it is Freon. I don't know.
I think Freon's
what's in cars. Right? Freon is what's in cars, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. As of January 2020, it's illegal to import or manufacture Freon.
So it's definitely... Wow. My thing is definitely using Freon then. Yeah. Yeah, which means...
Wow.
Yeah, so basically they told me they're like, you're going to have to, like... I guess the amount of Freon I would need for decades or a decade or so of use of an HVAC system would just be bad. So, yeah.
Due to studies that found it harmful to the environment and human health.
Is that direct contact, or is that like, you know, it's cooling the air and now the air is bad? Which is it?
Exposure to Freon gas can lead to refrigerant poison, which can cause severe lung damage and long-term brain damage. Sniffing Freon is dangerous and can lead to sudden death.
What? Say that again?
Sniffing Freon can lead to sudden death. So I guess if you literally, like, die. Good gosh.
Good God, man.
That's a little scary.
Yeah. So yeah,
people on the streets of West Virginia.
I don't know why he said a chemical. I know what Freon is. Or I've heard of it at least. He's like, he uses a chemical you can't have anymore, so you're going to need a new HVAC once that runs out of that. I guess it's Freon.
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume, honestly, a decent amount. It just became illegal in 2020. That means I have to imagine up until 2020, every AC made probably uses Freon.
I know my home AC did, and I know, like, hashtag West Virginia moment, like, we, are you good? You froze out for a second.
Yeah, I don't know. It left and then joined me back in.
That was weird. We cleared out my grandmother was married to someone who, we had to clear out his basement for some reason, right? He was like, I just want rid of this stuff, whatever. He had like 8 air conditioners in there. And we knew, like, within those air conditioners, there's a bunch of copper. There's probably a couple $100 worth in there. So we, typical West Virginians, disassembled them, and we took razor blades and we cut off the aluminum over the copper bars, and we sold the copper. And it was a good bit of money, right? My brother and I think my dad helped with some of it too. That's what we did. We just, like, 8 air conditioners. I knew, we were warned up front, do not even begin to mess around with this gas canister in there. Like, Once it comes off, it's like, and trash bag immediately, get out of here. Right? So, I guess it is really bad for you. I don't know. The more you know.
That's crazy. Yeah, didn't know that.
Yeah.
We learned something today.
I'm assuming that was Freon, by the way. I guess it could have been something else, but I just knew not to mess with it. So.
Yeah. My point of saying that was I have to imagine that the vast majority of us, whenever our AC units start to go out, we're going to have to get a new whatever, however they're doing it now. Because if it just became illegal in 2020, I'm assuming up until 2019, every single AC unit made was using Freon.
Yeah.
I just figure.
So, heck yeah, dude. Existential dread of knowing anytime that it's overworking, I'm like, great.
Baby, you got something in your nose.
Anything else from you, sir?
That's it. Suck it,
Follow us on Twitter, @HeadacheSpod. Subscribe on YouTube if you haven't. Leave us a 5-star review on Spotify. That's it. Shapirian and Herniator out. Hooday, baby.
Peace.